Hi there. This video is an exam paper walkthrough of the Edexcel GCSE Mathematics Higher Tier Paper 3 from Summer 2023. This paper is worth 80 marks in total, and this is the first video of 4. It will focus on questions 1 to 6, which account for 22 of these marks. Edexcel Paper 3s are calculator papers, so a calculator should be used. A little disclaimer, there may be more than one way to answer a question. The methods shown in this video are not the only way some mathematical skills can be applied. Okay, let's get started. Question 1. Part A. Simplify m to the power of 2 in brackets to the power of 3. So the laws of indices, when we have a power of a power, so we've got a power inside and outside our brackets, tells us that we multiply the powers. So it's going to become m to the power of 2 times 3, which is m to the power of 6. Make sure you're writing your powers smaller and to the top right there, so it's really clear how you're writing that expression. Part B, simplify x to the power of 5 multiplied by x to the power of 8. The law of indices for multiplication says that if we have the same base number and we are multiplying, in this case we've got a base letter, x, we simply need to add the powers. So it becomes x to the power of 5 plus 8, so that's going to be x to the power of 13. Part C, expand the bracket. So 4p multiplied by p squared gives me 4p to the power of 3. And then 4p multiplied by positive 3p gives me positive 12p squared. I'm just going to check that I've multiplied everything on the inside of the bracket by everything on the outside of the bracket, and then I'm going to write what I think is my answer on the answer line. Question 2. Johnny wants to know how much coffee he will need for 800 people at a meeting. Each person who drinks coffee will drink 2 cups of coffee. 10.6 grams of coffee is needed for each cup of coffee. Johnny assumes 68% of the people will drink coffee. Part A, using this assumption, work out the amount of coffee Johnny needs. Give your answer correct to the nearest gram. Okay, so each person who drinks coffee will drink 2 cups of coffee. And there are 10.6 grams of coffee per cup. So 2 times 10.6 grams tells us that for every person that drinks coffee, Johnny needs 21.2 grams of coffee. He assumes 68% of these people will drink coffee. So we want 68% of 800 people. So I'm going to use the multiplier 0.68, because that's 68% as a decimal. So Johnny is assuming that 544 people are going to be drinking coffee, and at 2 cups of coffee each, they're going to need 21.2 grams per person. So 544 times 21.2 grams is 11,532.6 grams of coffee in total. We want our answer to the nearest gram, so that 0.6 is going to round this up to 11,533 grams. Part B. Johnny's assumption is wrong. 72% of the people will drink coffee. How does this affect your answer to Part A? Well, 72% is more than the original assumption of 68%, so Johnny's going to need more coffee. So how does it affect your answer to Part A? The answer would be bigger. Johnny will need more coffee. Because more people are drinking it. Question 3. ACF and ADG are straight lines. BCD and EFG are parallel lines, and they're also marked with that little arrow there to denote parallel lines. Show that triangle ACD is isosceles. So this is triangle ACD. So that's the one that we're working towards showing is isosceles. Give a reason for each stage of your working. So isosceles triangles have two sides equal and two equal base angles. So I'm going to work out as much information in terms of angles as I can to identify whether or not ACD is isosceles. I can't do anything with the sides because I haven't got any of the sides labelled, but I can work with angles. So I'm going to start by finding this angle here. So this is angle CFG. So angle CFG equals 180 subtract 125 because they're on a straight line. So 180 subtract 125 tells me that that angle is 55 degrees, and I'm going to give my reason there for that stage of working, and that is angles on a straight line sum to 180. Okay, so now that we've got these parallel lines here, what I can work with are angles in parallel lines. So if I take that line, that intersecting line of these two parallel lines, it gives me this F shape, which tells me that this angle and this angle are equal. Okay, so angle ACD equals angle CFG. And the reason for this is because corresponding angles are equal. So I'm going to write corresponding angles are equal. So I know that that's 55. Now here we have another straight line. So I can get angle ADC. So angle ADC is 180 subtract 110. Which is 70 degrees. So that tells me that that angle is 70 degrees. The reason for that is angles on a straight line sum to 180. And I've already written it there, so I'm not going to write it again. And then now we're going to find this angle here. Because for this triangle ACD to be isosceles, we need two equal angles. So if this angle equals one of these two values, it's an isosceles triangle. So the next reason is angles in a triangle sum to 180 degrees. Oh. So I'm going to do 180 subtract the 55 and the 70 that I have labelled inside that triangle, which gives me 55 degrees. So we have two equal angles here. So I've shown that it's isosceles, but I'm going to say here, therefore, triangle ACD is isosceles. It has two equal angles. Question 4. It takes 14 hours for 5 identical pumps to fill a water tank. How many hours would it take 4 of these pumps to fill another water tank of the same size? So 14 hours for 5 identical pumps. If we've got less pumps, we're going to expect it to take more time. So be aware of that when you're checking the suitability of your answer at the end. If there are less pumps filling the water tank, then it's going to take longer to fill. And then we just need to figure out some kind of proportional relationship. So I'm going to do 5 divided by 4, okay? Because that will tell me how much work each of those 4 pumps has got to do. So it's got to do 1.25 amounts of work as each of these 5 would have had to do. So if it's 1.25 the amount of time, I'm going to do 14 times 1.25. And that tells me that it would take 17.5 hours for 4 pumps to do exactly the same as what 5s would have. Question 5. A and B are numbers such that A is 2 squared multiplied by 3 to the power of 4 multiplied by 7, and B is 3 squared multiplied by 7 squared. So these numbers A and B have been written as products of their prime factors. Part A, find the highest common factor of A and B. So the highest common factor when dealing with prime factors, if you were to sort them into a Venn diagram, would be anything that occurs in the middle. So anything that occurs in both. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to expand these so that they're not written in index form. So 2 squared, 3 to the power of 4 and 7. Then I'm going to do the same for B. So it's 3 squared and then 7 squared. So now I'm going to look at what they have in common. So we have 3, 3 and 7. So my highest common factor is 3 times 3 times 7, which is 63. Part B, find the lowest common multiple of A and B. So the lowest common multiple of A and B would be the highest common factor multiplied by anything that's left, that hasn't been included, that wasn't common to both products of prime factors. So we're going to do 63 multiplied by 2 squared multiplied by 3 squared multiplied by 7. This would be all of the information that's included in your Venn diagram if you were to draw one. So 2 squared, 3 squared, 7. So the lowest common multiple of A and B is 15,876. Question 6. Lava flows from a volcano at a constant rate of 11.9 meters cubed per second. How many days does it take for 67,205,600 meters cubed of lava to flow from the volcano? Give your answer to correct it to the nearest day. Okay, so what we've got to realise here is it wants how many days, but our flow rate is given in seconds. That's meters cubed per second. So we need to work out what that would be in days when we get to our final answer. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find out how many seconds it's going to take. So I'm going to do the volume of lava divided by 11.9. So be careful to enter this in your calculator accurately. So that's going to take 5,647,529.412 seconds. Now we need to convert it to days. So to go to minutes, we divide by 60. Hours, we divide by 60 again. And then days, there are 24 hours in a day, so we would divide by 24. So this answer divided by 60, divided by 60 again, and then divided by 24 tells us that it's 65.36492,375 days. Once our answer correct to the nearest day, so this to the nearest day would be 65 days, because that 0.3 is less than 5. So we're going to keep it at 65. We're not going to round it up.